Hey folks, I'm Joe Watts, the creator of Worldographer, and this is another look at one of the things that's new and improved and different in Worldographer 2025. Right now, as you likely know, we're doing a crowdfunding project to help support the development of Worldographer 2025. And we're showing off, we've done a couple of videos that kind of are overviews of the different types of maps, whether you're making world region maps or if you're making battle maps or if you're making city village maps. And we've started diving into some detailed videos on specific aspects. Yesterday was all about rivers and coastlines. Today we're going to talk about the child map functionality, if you will, the multiple map levels that we've got built into Worldographer. And it's really one of the things that kind of sets the program apart from other mapping applications as far as I know. In Worldographer, when you create your map, and we go up to File and New World Kingdom Map, you can specify if you're trying to create that initial level at the world, continent, or kingdom levels. There's also a province level that you're not able to generate on because the memory management of that is a little bit different, and so it's not possible to do so. Just for performance reasons, we do some tricks with the memory on that. So you could set up your world and generate it on any level any of those other levels, I should say. Right now, this is set to be 200 wide and 100 high, which, if you had a Earth-like map or an Earth-like world rather, and you're roughly 25,000, a little less than 25,000 miles across at the equator, you're going to have 125 mile hexes at the equator. Of course, that varies quite a bit as you get further away from the equator with this flat projection. You can also do an icosahedral projection as well, built into the tool with this setting here, which gives you something like this. But we're going to stick with flat. It's a little bit easier to work with, especially for the map levels functionality. I'm going to close this because we're just going to use this map that was generated here. And when we go ahead and generate our world, if I go, generate the next level, we can just, the first time that you switch to a level, it's going to prompt you. So if we go to continent, and you have to do these in order, you can't jump to kingdom if you don't have a continent made. So we're going to open up this dialog by picking that for the first time. And here's a bunch of explaining text that just talks to you about, hey, if you don't have now that it's been a few years since we wrote this functionality, actually we're getting less concerns from people about the performance of their computers. So even on my laptop, it's a year-old laptop that I do most of my development on, going 6-to-1 a couple of times over isn't a problem. But what do I mean by 6-to-1? That's this setting here. How many hexes across do you want in that next level down map versus compared to the current map that you're looking at? And a lot of people, like a 6-mile hex or like a 5-mile hex or whatever. And so if you wanted to, you can divide it up. We can take our 200. Actually, in this case, maybe 5 might be better. So I can do 5 across, and then I've got, if I had 200-mile hexes at the equator before, now 5-to-1, we're going to be 40, and then we can do it again, and we could do 8-to-1, for example, or the next one, for example, if we wanted to get to 5-mile hexes. Or you can start out with different settings and do something else. I'm going to actually make this 6-to-1 because I'm going to compare it to another map that I've just created in the original Worldographer. Hit OK, and it's doing its calculations. It's filling in the entire map for us. You can zoom out a little bit, and you can see the results that we're getting here. So you can see how we don't really match up with the hexes on the other level. Especially, let me show you what we used to do before. So this is what was the result in Worldographer, which is Hexographer 2. which had the Hexographer had a different way of approaching this. It would actually make a separate map from your map. But here, if I zoom out, you can really see how the algorithm before would have each hex was a very close, each child map, each child map's hexes, or the new map level's hexes, would very closely match the parent map. You had a little bit of variance here where it dives in a little bit there, but really not much. And you have a little, there's a little bit of similar terrain that it picks, where it looks at this is all forest, and it's like, oh, okay, let me make this little bit mixed forest, or here's a whole bunch of hills, but let's make a little portion of it mountains. So that's what Worldographer would do. Whereas in Worldographer 2025, we get a result like this, where I know that this was mountains here, and that these two were likely desert. But if I turn off that parent grid, and you can do that by going to grid, the configure button next to grid, I should say, and I can set this next level ups. One level higher is grid if it's displayed. Hit OK, and that's going to turn that off. And once I turn that off, I'm like, I don't see an obvious hex shape to this. So that gives you an idea of what the algorithm does now. It just looks at the adjacent terrains, and it kind of, the further you get away from that center hex in that lower level map, it's more likely going to pull one of those adjacent terrains instead. So that's the approach that we're taking with it, and I like it. I think that we're giving a much better result. And you still might massage some things. You might not like that. Something gets so far into the other area, but I think it's a pretty good approach. And especially when you compare it to this, I would be going through the terrain, and I'd be classic, and I'd be picking my forest, and I'd be trying to massage all of this. That's kind of what I would call it. I'm doing terrain massaging to kind of match up, or to avoid matching up with the parent hex shape. And then I would do the same thing for hills, and be like, okay, let me do this and this to kind of avoid that look. Whereas here, I kind of get most of that already, and I might want to tweak it. Let me turn it back on that hex grid, that parent hex grid, I should say. I might still want to tweak it some, but so there you have it. That's the new creation of the next map level functionality. And again, we can do this again for the continent, excuse me, for the continent level and the province level. So, as I said, this is Worldographer 2025. We've got the crowdfunding going on right now. It runs through October 8th, if I remember correctly. So if you have the opportunity, and please do try the demo. The demo is linked on that on the page. I'll have the link for this for the crowdfunding on the video, and then there it's pretty prominent. It's the couple of links to the demo page. You can download it, install it, give it a try. And I'm sure, especially if you've been using Worldographer for a while, it's going to be so much better to use. Just like, for example, just being able to scroll through this terrain without losing these other controls is a big usability improvement, but it's still familiar to people that have been using Worldographer for a while. So yeah, we'll have the demo. Give the demo a try, and then if you find it useful, yeah, please do consider supporting the crowdfunding so we can bring this to you and bring more improvements. People that have been following Worldographer know that we put out regular updates every month or two with new features and fixes and so forth. So I'd appreciate your support. Thanks a bunch.